What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back in to another video, and oh my god, I'm hyped. The Giants just pulled off one of the most unthinkable things and one of the best things that happened to them this season in finishing off the Seattle Seahawks on the road to advance to 5-7 and remain first in the division. I said this from the get-go. If the Giants were to find a way to win this game, they are going to clinch the NFC East. I do not see any rhyme or reason the Giants should not win the NFC East. Okay? Not only would this help us in the division, this was probably the hardest opponent we were going to face this season. All right, if we can find a way to beat Seattle, we can find a way to beat any of the rest of the opponents we have this season. Now, Baltimore remains our hardest opponent, but this is a big step forward for the New York Giants. We're going to get into everything in this game. Now, I wasn't able to watch this game. Every game that I'm not able to watch, the Giants are 4-0. I have not been able to watch a live Giants win this season, which sucks a lot because of my job. I know, it sucks, but next year it should be different. But I'm able to listen on the radio, and I'm just driving, just happy. This big smile on my face. This is exactly what I want to work with, baby. Giants Nation, had to represent the Giants. A salute to service shirt. Had to put that on today. What an amazing win by the New York Giants. This is the best game they played all season, despite not having Daniel Jones, despite not having a Saquon Barkley, obviously the majority of the year. This was the best game the Giants have played all season. Not offensively, but just as a whole. Now, they did have issues with the special teams. They did have issues with the offense, with Colt McCoy. He couldn't get going. Evan Ingram caused an interception. We'll get into all of that. But, quickly, I made a video about this. I talked about this in lives. I said if the Giants win this game, this would help in tremendous ways this season. Why? Because with beating Seattle, that was one of the projected losses we had this season. Coming out the bye, the Giants were projected 3 wins and 3 losses. We beat Cincinnati. That was 1 win. And then our other 2 projected wins were Arizona and Dallas. In my opinion, I thought we would lose to the Browns, but we'll see what happens with the Browns now. So if we and that would project us to a 6-10 record. And a lot of people believe, including myself, that 6-10 can get us this division. Now, I think the Giants could get to 7-9. Just winning a game you're projected to lose helps you out in the final stretch of a season. I don't think people understand the implications of this win for the rest of the season. I know everybody's like, slow down, we still have the rest of the teams to play. But if the Giants remain this consistent, if they play like this, like how they did against Seattle, but with Daniel Jones and, a little bit of a better offensive play, the Giants have no reason to lose any of the remaining games on the schedule. And I'm not over-exaggerating. This defense played absolutely lights out. Jabril Peppers covering tight ends, laying the boom on we saw a huge tackle on Tyler Lockett. Unfortunately, it was caught, but Jabril Peppers was all over the place. James Bradbury unfortunately had the worst game of his season this year against DK Metcalf. He traveled with DK Metcalf in this game, and it was 5 catches, 80 yards. But James Bradbury did what he can. It's very hard to cover DK Metcalf. Darnay Holmes had himself an interception. He had a back and forth fight between him and Tyler Lockett throughout the game, and I think it was well and hard fought. The secondary as a whole played well. Blake Martinez was there cleaning up tackles. Devontae Downs had a good game. The pass rush was there. Leonard Williams had a season high 2.5 sacks for the New York Giants. The Giants haven't had that kind of a performance from a defensive tackle in a very long time. He was absolutely lights out. Leonard Williams had himself a fantastic game. Jabal Sheard was in the pass rush. Carter Coughlin was in the pass rush. Who else was in there? Cam Brown. I mean, just a lot of Nico Lalos. How about that? Nico Lalos recovers another ball. First he gets an interception, now he recovers a fumble. I mean, leave this guy on the field. He's just great luck. All right, so the defense played lights out. This defense needs to be respected. If this was a primetime game against Seattle and the Giants pulled this off, I guarantee you the rest of the NFL are going to appreciate the New York Giants defense. They need to be recognized. I have New York Giants defense on every single one of my fantasy leagues. Why is that? Nobody even thinks about the New York Giants defense. Okay? This Giants defense needs to be respected. Everybody had a decent. Isaac Yiadom had himself a decent game as well. I really like the Isaac Yiadom's development in with the New York Giants. Patrick Graham, just in general, just hats off to Patrick Graham. Tay Crowder had himself a good game as well. Had himself a sack. Julian Love almost had an interception. James Bradbury almost had an interception. Both of those were dropped. As I look into this game here, what I wanted to get into is, we knew Seattle, there's something going on with the Seahawks offense. Now, the Seahawks offense is very sporadic, and we were beginning to see that last week against Philadelphia. We felt like, watching that game, scouting the game as an NFC East rival opponent versus the team we're going to face next week is a really interesting game to watch. And from what I saw, it just looked like garbage football from both sides. The Seahawks, didn't show that in the scoreboard. I thought the Seahawks played down to their competition against Philadelphia, and I felt like they were very, very vulnerable going into the Seattle game. Now, am I going to be some kind of lying guy and say, oh, I knew this all the time? No, I projected the Giants to lose this game. But listen, I think a lot of people did, right? But I'm not going to disrespect the Giants right now. I think I might favor them to win in every single game until they lose. I think the Giants could honestly win out if they played this consistent of football. They're running the ball and playing tough, hard defense. You don't need a quarterback to perform when you play the way they do. Smash mouth football, running the ball. We had a record number. I got to look at how many yards we ran for. But Wayne Gallman had a career high, and this smashed last year's career high of I believe 15 carries and 94 yards, or 16 carries, 94 yards. The Giants ran for a season high, and I don't know when's the last time the Giants ran for this much, but 31 carries for 190 yards, 6.1 yards per carry, and a touchdown between everybody. Alfred Morris had 4.9 yards a carry, 8 carries for 39 yards. Wayne Gallman, 16 carries for 135 yards, 8.4 yards a carry. This guy had a huge 60-yard run. Hats off to the offensive line. Now, in the passing game, they were all right. I think they were decent in the passing game. The running game was phenomenal. They were able to open up the middle. They were able to get pulling guards out there to help out with the outside runs. I mean, they were phenomenal in this game. And this is against a top-ranked run defense. They were coming in third in the league in run defense. And the Giants said, I don't care. I'm still going to run the ball 31 times. If the Giants run the ball 31 times in each game, they're going to win games, especially with the defense that they're playing. This is how you control the clock. All right, let me see what the time of possession was in this game. The Giants were neck and neck with the Seattle Seahawks in time of possession. Seattle had 30 minutes and a couple of, and some change, and the Giants had 29 minutes and some change. Okay, so they were dead even between each other as far as time of possession goes, and Seattle is one of the best teams with time of possession in the NFL, very consistently, for years, going back years, because they were able to run the ball and play tough defense in years past. So the Giants did a fantastic. I'm getting dizzy, man. I'm getting dizzy. The Giants did a fantastic job in this game. I'm trying to look at my notes here. I think I pretty much covered everything. Evan Ingram had another game where he caused a turnover, but then makes it up later on in the day, later on in the game where he has some crucial catches. Listen, I have nothing against Evan Ingram if he were to just not put the team in a bad spot early in the game. It seems like it happens almost every single game, whether it be a fumble or a crucial third down drop, bobbled ball for an interception, it went right off his hands. Even though Colt McCoy didn't really put it in the right place, it should have been on the outside on that spot route. But even so, it bounced right off of Evan Ingram's hands, and it fell in the hands of Quandre Diggs. He ran it back a couple of yards as well. And Seattle only really pretty much answered with a field goal there. So Not even. They didn't even answer with anything there, if I'm not mistaken. I think that wound up being a punt. So, and the Giants, how about the Giants holding strong on 4th down? I don't know. I remember one 4th down in particular. I forget about the one at the end of the game where the Giants clinched the win. Talking about that 4th and 1, right? Where Seattle runs that bootleg. And I don't know why they would do that when they ran the ball pretty consistently. They should have just ran the ball and see what happens. But they run the bootleg, try to get people, get them thinking it was a run and try to, catch the Giants slipping. But it did not work whatsoever. Russell Wilson was used and abused in this game. This was one of the best performances as far as pressure goes from the New York Giants defensive line. I know the offensive line for Seattle was not that good, but man, we didn't even look that good against Cincinnati's offensive line, for crying out loud. Well, you know what helped us was former New York Giant Chad Wheeler. Yeah, remember the Chad Wheeler that every Giants fan was saying was amazing? He was Nick Gates before Chad Wheeler was Nick Gates, and Nick Gates is actually playing pretty well at a different position. But Chad Wheeler was one of the guys back then where everybody's like, oh my God, he's our guy for the future. Chad Wheeler single-handedly cost them the game at the end of the game. I mean, Russell Wilson was under pressure 100% of the time, every time Chad Wheeler was on the field. I mean, it was not even close. All right, Nico Lalos abused him. Jabal Sheard abused him. All right, so I think I pretty much got everything down. Yeah, just all in all, a great game for the New York Giants. I'm looking forward to what they're gonna do next week. The Giants are gonna be at home against the Cardinals. This is gonna be a great game for the New York Giants to try to help out their win total. Listen, the Giants are 5-7 right now, and they are home for the next 2 games. If the Giants could find a way to beat Arizona at home and the Browns at home, we would pretty much have this division at 7 wins. All right, the Cowboys game at the end would help us with 8, and we were going to see what happens with that Ravens game. But if the Giants can pull out the next 2 home games, they'll be sitting at 7 wins. They'll be sitting at 7-7. At that point, who the hell is going to catch up? King of the East, baby. Woo!